That was depressing. Okay. Jimmy gave me some cup ramen for breakfast. She boiled the water in a small electric kettle. The girl herself was too hungover to eat anything. I did take the opportunity to pay her back for last night's drinks in person, though. Then we made our way to the dining hall.
この岩って何なの？
一応お守りみたいなもの？昔からあるよ。
Okay.
よそでは見たことないよ。
ああ、言われたらそうかも。
She led me along a narrower path than I'd followed earlier. It didn't seem like any cars used this one. It was very farmy, I guess. This area was also littered with those boulders. Some were cracked, broken, or half buried in the fields. They were clearly religious symbols, but it didn't look like they were that important these days. Or were they? Now that I knew I was safe, I once again became curious about this place.
人だ。
Oh, there's somebody. He was working on the field. Shimmy waved her hand. The man responded, but then froze mid-wave.
いいの？多分あの人、僕の存在に驚いたんじゃ。
大丈夫。どうせ後で食堂に来るから、説明はその時にするってことで。
Well, if she said so, as an outsider, I had no choice but to rely on her. This was part of the village I saw this morning, where the buildings were more densely packed. I didn't notice it back then, but it was actually kind of weird. Basically, it felt desolate. The wooden bungalows in particular are more or less overgrown, buried in tall grass and other greenery. If this was all I saw of the village and someone told me it was abandoned, I'd have easily believed them.
I think
However,
you're right with your purgatory theory.
However, two of the buildings stood out. Well, because there's a lot of religious imagery in rivers and crossing over between life and death.
Yeah.
And he made a very big
across
deal.
Across cultures too.
Yeah, across cultures. They made a very big deal about him crossing that river, and he saw the light first, which is what prompted him to do it.
Yep. Yeah, and that old lady, she had one of those little, the scrap of cloth over her face was a triangle, and
yes.
Japanese ghosts have that little triangle crown.
Yes.
That they wear, it was inverted. It shouldn't have,
yes.
Well, as far as I know, shouldn't have been covering her face, but I think that's definitely significant.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. They usually do that to represent, ghosts. So the way they had it looked like a, what's the word I'm looking for? A death mask, sort of, like the
Yeah,
the cloth.
Yeah.
So there was a hall right beyond the hill. It wasn't that big, but it looked grand and well maintained. The other building was obviously the dining hall. It looked a bit dirty, but I could tell there were people inside. From what I could tell, it was the most lively place in this poor excuse for a community.
God, so judgmental.
I know, right? Suddenly, the three students walked out, chatting about something.
知恵ね。久石さん。
サイドおはよう。ちょっと遅くない？モッチーがバカなことばっか言って遅くなっちゃったんだもん。そうだ、僕が悪だ。味噌汁をよこせ。
Okay, Mochi, you got this.
まあ早足なら間に合うでしょ。みんなしっかり勉強しといで。
Okay. Half dashing, the three ran up the path we came from.
みんな高校生なんだ。
そう。山をぐーっと登ったところに分校があるんだ。私も3年前まで通ってたな。
やたら不便だね。
それでもみんなあの寮に住める分優遇されてるんだけど。
Shiemi was entirely straight-faced. There wasn't even a hint of a smile.
さあ、気合を入れて入りましょう。
And now there's a smile.
そうしましょ
う。Yeah.
気合入んない。
We left a little and passed the curtain.
いらっしゃい。あら。
The inside was as aged as the outside, but it looked well maintained.
ちえみちゃん、お客さん?
The hostess-looking lady asked. Though somewhat aged and fatigued, she was definitely beautiful. There were two others beside her. One was a lady in her 70s or 80s. She was probably the one I saw this morning. The silhouette matched. The other was a man who seemed a bit younger than her, probably in his late 60s. Though they were just sitting there, there was a menacing aura about them.
I love it.
紹介するね。Fusaishi Haruaki さん。昨日の晩、皿長で迷ってたのを千恵美が保護しました。
Their reactions were powerful.
Look at that old lady.
The lady gasped while the two elders rose to their feet with alarm. The tension that was already there the moment I walked in reached its peak.
気にするのもわかるけど、これは単なる偶然です。あの子と違って、この人は素性が明らかだし、バイクで旧道に突っ込んで事故ったって非常に気の毒な。
He died when his bike crashed.
I think so.
He's super dead.
そんなわけで、我々としてはこの人がちゃんと帰れるように手伝ってあげるのがいいと千恵美は思います。
That Rikako girl looks like sort of like a shrine maiden or priestess. Helping him leave is probably like trying to help him pass on.
Yep.
どうですか、皆様方。
After saying all that, Chiemi fell silent. The ball was in their court now. The lady voiced a harmless opinion, careful not to upset the old people. It was pretty clear who was in charge. They were elders in more ways than one. Yeah. Yomibito. Okay.
She just spit it out. Nice. Wow. Old man, respect your elders.
Right? From the conversation, it was pretty clear that something had happened before I arrived here. It was pretty similar to what happened with me. She'd mentioned some little girl. Perhaps there was a child who'd wandered in here like I did? According to Chiemi, the Saranaga Rapids were a place of significance around here. It was a place from which dead people came to life or whatever.
Or whatever.
Or whatever.
Whatever.
Oh, so this tie must have been the lady that Boyd mentioned, and the Yomibito must have been a term for the dead who came from there. Apparently, the primary goal here was convincing these elders to approve helping me. The old man's voice put my derailed mind back on track.
はい、東京です。
いくつじゃ。
年は24です。
地位より上じゃが。
Yeah.
Yeah.
He chuckled. I immediately realized he was taking a jab at me for hiding behind a younger girl.
Fucking misogyny. That's fine.
久石春明です。芹沢さんにも紹介された通り、バイクで事故って迷い込みました。
My name is Haruaki Fusaishi, and I am a notorious bitch.
どうやら僕はここでは異分子のようで、変なことを言ったりしたりして、皆さんに迷惑を
My
かけたくない
bitchery
な
is
と。
legendary where I come from.
それで芹沢さんに紹介をお願いしたんですが、僕から改めてお願いします。すぐ出て行きますから、それまでは僕の存在を多めに見ていただけないかと。それと僕を助けてくれた芹沢さんを責めないであげてください。
春明さん。
I told you to shut the fuck up.
おそらく芹沢さんはここの常識を外れたところで僕を助けてくれたんだと思うんです。
まあ。
Wow, he said things.
これでも大人です。自分の責任は自分で取りますし、皆さんにかけた迷惑は可能な限り償います。
Take responsibility.
ですので、どうか
Do
お
we
願
have
いしま
to?
す。
I think so. This is unfortunately our protagonist.
I bowed my
ち
head.
ゃんとしとる、タイバー。
あたしゃスカンはね、そんなに髪茶色に染
All
めて
brown and weird and hairy. Shit, I forgot I didn't look very presentable to more traditionalist people.
Oh, he's dyed his hair.
Yeah.
返せばええ。
ほいじゃ好きにしなさいね。
Well, we're too old. We don't care. I guess I got their half-hearted approval.
春秋。春か。うちの孫も春じゃ。紛らわしい。
Huh.
あ、もしかして
Oh, so Haru is his granddaughter.
そう、はるちゃんのおじいさんの牧島勘三さんよ。
どうも。
I didn't know what else to say. Haru-chan and I weren't on the best of terms so far. Anyway, it seemed like we're past the difficult part.
皿長に突っ込んだか。
いえ、コンビニで道を聞いた後、脇道に入って未舗装になったところで滑り落ちて横転しました。
Maybe this is what you get for acting like an asshole to the clerk at the convenience store. Like, man, I would love to send anyone who like spoke that way to me down a ravine to their death.
I mean, to be fair, I don't really want to be fair to this asshole, but to be fair, like, he had a very distinct separation between what was going on in his head and what he actually said aloud.
Okay, that's fair.
Like, he wasn't an ass to the convenience store clerk.
Yeah.
He was just an ass to her in his head.
Which, unfortunately, we were privy to.
Yes.
So, and then you went in Saranaga. Why didn't you turn around? He wasn't impressed by my choice of actions.
Yeah, neither are we.
Join the club! It just hit me that I had no idea how much time passed between the crash and my meeting with Chiemi.
わしと匠で見てきちゃる。
匠は他を見よるわよ。
タエバ、追い出す思うて手伝わせ。
カンちゃんはいっつもそうね。
Aw, Kan-chan.
Kan-chan.
ばあちゃん、おやさん。
Whoa! Hello!
Who is this beefcake? Hello.
Damn.
Tall drink of water.
Look at those fucking arms! Holy shit!
They're bigger than his head.
Oh my god!
Why isn't
Rejoiced
this our protagonist?
by a new inhabitant.
チエミ、こいつは
I don't care. Just stay.
あ、たくみ兄ちゃん。
Oh, that's Takumi Nishan.
Okay.
Oh, so he was the one we saw on the field.
Oh.
Okay, the music got decidedly more porn-like.
I mean, all that man has to do is flex, and he is going to rip his shirt.
Wow, he sure looked big from up close. All that field work was good for his muscles, clearly. And from what I could tell, he was in his 30s.
Look at that gormless expression. I love
I
him.
know. As Chiemi introduced me and told him of my situation, I found out his name, Takumi Muro.
ああ、そいつは災難だったな。ああ、おやさん。
Man, that must have been hard, like these pecs.
わしとお前で切ろう。だな。ばあちゃん、こいつ助けっからちょっと待っててな。もう農薬は巻き終わってるから、いるから草刈るわ。
Aw, look at this guy. He
Good
does all the,
boy.
he's a good chore boy.
Yeah.
匠は
Taking care of his grandma.
What a good boy.
Hell yeah.
こんなもんなんでもないって。すぐ何もなかったようにできるからよ。
そうね。
Nothing,
お
eh?
兄ちゃんや。
僕ですか？
You're pathetic compared to Takumi.
ここは休み言うてあんまりいい場所じゃないんよ。
Oh, well, sorry. It was the place that wasn't good, not my presence.
私らもよそのもんが苦手だし。よその
Yeah,
もん
so don't poke around. Except I'm going to poke around.
じゃから、はよ出てお行き。
はい。
The porn-like music is still going. Takumi must still be nearby. There he is.
His presence is so powerful.
うん、ありがとう、たくみ兄ちゃん。
I was beginning to understand how things worked here. Although Kanzo Makishima's voice was the most powerful here, it was also important to get Tai-san's approval. Kanzo-san was probably in charge of tackling the settlement's practical problems, while Tai-san provided spiritual and moral direction. And when it was time to be civilized, Takumi-san came and convinced Tai-san, acting as an intermediary. It looked like Takumi-san himself understood such subtleties, and Chiemi seemed to rely on the side of him.
はい、ここらで一つどうぞ。
The lady brought some tea to the old folk. Perfect timing.
おお、香織さん。 俺には飯頼んで。
Aw, he's food motivated like a big dog.
Yeah.
So that was her name.
朝早くからお疲れ様でした。
Yeah!
大盛りにしますからね。
なーに、安水とばあちゃんと香織さんのためなら手でもねえよ。
Aw.
Oh, what good boy.
These two sure seemed to get along. They looked about the same age, too.
さあ、お客さんもご飯にされます？
I would like something to eat.
いえ、いただいてきたので。
Oh, yeah, I had the ramen.
それじゃあ
We had delicious cup ramen.
I could
お
go
に
for
ぎり
some
で
cup
も
ramen.
お出ししましょう。
Onigiri.
Oh,
ああ、それは。
I want to go to Japan.
ごめんなさい。ちょっと急ぎで電話借りていいかな、香織さん。
Okay. Who are you gonna call? Oh?
それはいいけど、お茶くらいは。
No, phone!
うん、ありがとう。でもほんと緊急だから。行こう、春明さん。
うん。
It didn't look like I could say no. Yeah, use the phone. You could call for help. We went to the nearby stairs to see what seemed like a living space. At the end of the creaky hallway, there was a black rotary phone, a rarity in this day and
これ
age.
がここ、安水唯一の電話だから。
Oh, okay.
ち
Seriously?
なみに、携帯電話はどのキャリアも通じませんので。
Of course not.
そうなのか。でもどこに電話しろって？
Help! Do you not have anybody?
ロードサービスとか保険とか、あと必要な家族にも連
Yeah,
絡。
Oh, that made sense. Hell, I should have been the one to say that.
さっきも言ったけ
Oh my
ど、
god.
できるだけここを早く出られた方がいいから、使えるものは何でも使いましょう。
Oh my god, this guy.
よそ者が歓迎されない場所だから？
そういうことです。
それ以上の詮索は無用
Then I shouldn't pry any further, huh? Not even a follow-up question to this question?
春明さんはとっても察しがいい。それはいいことだと思う。ただ、好奇心もとっても強く見える。
Yeah.
バレたか。
バレますとも。でも正直、あんまりいろいろ首突っ込まない方がいいかも。
We're not going to be doing that, are we?
どうせすぐに別れるんだし。
その通り。
なんだか寂しいな。
お、ちえみちゃんのメアドご所も
くれるならぜひ。
やった
Barf.
これで男友達53人目。
Guy number
テンショ
53.
ンガタ落ちですわ。
We still went on to exchange our info. I could only hope that being number 53 wasn't as big a problem as it
そ
sounded.
れはともかく。
Bro, she's
個
way
人
out of
的
your
興味で
league.
言え
I'm
ば、
right?
何が問題になってて、どんな背景があるのか知りたいのだけど。
She's awesome, and you're just... Meh.
You're just a creep. It's because you're Yomidito. Didn't you hear the old lady? I think it's really interesting, actually,
Uh-huh.
that the old lady screeched what is clearly a key word, and he didn't pick up on it at all.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Like, he's...
I'm sure that means something to someone who is fluent in the language of Japanese.
なぜかな。
But why?
私が不愉快になるから。
あんまり故郷が好きじゃない？
うん。正直、嫌い。
ここの人とは仲良さそうに見えるけど。
ああ、それは見えるだけですね。私相当の問題児だったんで。
I was a huge
ご年配
problem
方とは
child.
結構気まずいよ。それに、パッと見はわからないいろんなしがらみもあるし。まあ、住人自体はそんなに嫌いじゃないけどね。
With that, I decided to stop prying about this place any further. I'd back away before she came. I gotta sneeze.
Bless you.
Damn it! It went away. I'd back away before she came to
あ、
hate
で
me.
も一つだけ聞いていい？
いい度胸。
Oh, gutsy.
何かな？
室匠さんのこと好きだったりする？
Wow. Dude.
え？私が？
うん。
さすがにそれはないな。匠兄ちゃんかっこいいけど、
Oh, thank God.
10以上年違うし
Ugh.
対象外で
He's
す
too old for her, and she's acknowledging it. Good.
Yeah, no, I know. It's just like I went, ugh, like, dude, why do you care?
Because
Don't
he's a
be that
fucking
guy.
creep.
Don't be
Yeah.
that way. Can we not? Can we? I'm forced to pilot this idiot. I don't want him to be that
そ
way.
れに匠兄ちゃんは昔から香織さん一筋だし
Yes, good. Let them get together.
Because they're apparently the same age.
Yeah.
結婚してるわけじゃないの？
うん香織さん未亡人だから
Oh. Well, that seemed complicated. That aside, Chiemi had been acting a bit strange. Why had she dragged me away from the tea? It seemed so awkward, too. Huh. Do you think there's something with the tea?
Maybe.
Assuming she hadn't been jealous of Kaori-san and simply didn't want her to charm me. Dude.
Ugh.
Dude. It would mean
Gross.
that she just hadn't wanted me to drink the tea. Why? Also, why'd she feed me cup ramen if I could have just gotten food at the dining hall? Oh, Looking too deep into things was part of my nature, though things were never as bad as I assumed.
You're an idiot, Haruaki. Just an absolute moron.
Looking too deeply into things is my nature, but I'm going to choose to ignore what the old woman actually called me to my face.
Yep.
I went on to call my insurance company where I found out something. Apparently, this village was hundreds of kilometers away from the nearest service station, meaning I was ineligible for the normal service and had to pay extra. Sounds like insurance. And the extra was no small amount, too. It actually went over 100,000 yen. Wait,
Oof.
what? That's like 10 grand.
Yeah.
Wow. I would have told them to cancel my insurance and they could go fuck themselves over the phone.
Yeah, seriously.
Also, I could have avoided this if I'd taken a more expensive plan. Oh my god. I could have avoided this if I'd taken a more expensive plan. This is all my own fault for not taking the bike salesman's advice. Shit. No! No, it's not! No, this is how they gouge you!
Mm-hmm.
I said I would consider it and hung up. Then I went back to the dining hall.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ,
geez,
10
Santachi.
grand.
10 grand? What the hell?
Is this pro-insurance propaganda? Is that
It
what this
must
game
be.
is? No, I don't think so.
The customers had changed completely. Tai-san, Kanzo-san, and Takumi-san were gone now. They were replaced by a caricature of a juvenile delinquent. Yes!
I love this child instantly.
The fuck are you? He shouted at me. He seemed like he was trying too hard. He then slammed his bowl and chopsticks on the table and stood up to intimidate me.
Fusaishi, Haruaki.
I love this kid.
Oh my god, look at his little face.
Oh my god.
まあよすぐ初対面の方になんて口の利き方を
Yoshitsugu.
Damn!
Damn.
バイクで事故った旅行者の春秋さん
Oh my
I
god.
like him slightly less because of the mean thing he called,
Cowdy?
yeah, Kaori,
Yeah.
thank you.
Boy, was that introduction half-assed.
改めてこちら織部香織さんと
Oh damn, that's
次男の
that's her
吉嗣
son.
安永
Damn.
君が長男ね
安永くんって
Oh.
朝の彼？
Oribe. Okay, he's the first son.
そうよく見たら似てるでしょ
No.
No, I don't. I don't think at all.
Okay. Wow.
そう言われてもなモテちゃうからな
Fuck yeah, Chiemi.
I like this guy slightly less now. He seems like the kind of guy to call a woman a whore when she won't sleep with him.
Probably.
Yeah.
And from what I'd seen, that confidence was well justified. You live like literally in the middle of nowhere. How have you discovered delinquent culture?
どうしよう
Right? Like, where are you getting the hair gel?
Did the fucking rocks tell you? Like, what is going on?
なんとちえみちゃんはバカだったのか。よーし、バカバカ。
え、ひどい。
言ってやろうぜ、よしつぐくん。バカバカ。
Wait, are they teasing?
What is happening?
Oh, now he's playing him because Yoshitsugu's an idiot.
Yeah,
so
okay.
he's probably teasing Chiemi to get Yoshitsugu to defend her. Yeah. You're
Yep.
pretty conflicted, aren't
ごめ
you?
んちえみちゃん、本心じゃないんだ。
おお、見事な連続手のひら返し。このちえみをあっけに取られさせるとは。
Oh, Chiemi, don't be surprised by that.
I think she's
This
just...
guy's a creep.
I think she's honestly just fucking with him. Like, oh, that's cute. You're still not good enough.
I hope so.
には負けないぜ。
Boy, did I... No.
In your wildest dreams, buddy.
当に遅刻でしょ。着替えて学校。
行かねえよ。
Mumbling something, the kid walked out of the dining hall, leaving his half-full bowl
ご
behind.
めんなさいね。お恥ずかしいところを。
根は素直ないい子なんですけどね。
Must be very deep down.
Yeah. Yeah, I could actually see that somewhat.
ところで、牧島さんとムロさんは。
あ、もうバイク
I
拾い
really
に出ました。
want to know... I completely lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Maybe it'll
追い
come
かけ
back.
ないと。
場所は分かってるみたいだったし、大丈夫じゃない？
いや、一応ニュートラルにすれば押せるけどさ、操作わかるのかな。
Not rocket science.
あとさすがに手伝うべきでしょ。作業が非効率になっちゃまずいし。
Well, okay, one of them looked like they could just pick it up and haul it over their shoulder. I think you're
その
fine,
程度
dude.
なら手出しはやめときましょう。
なんで？
取りも直さず、春明さんがよそ者だからです。長時間一緒に歩くのはちょっとおすすめできない。
問題になりそうな人たちには思えなかったけど。
そりゃあ二人とも大人だから。でも基本的にこのちえみほどオープンな人はここにはそうそういないからね。春明さんは平気かもだけど、一緒にいると向こうがストレス溜めるかもしれない。ただでさえ今普通じゃないから。
まあ、そうね。任せろと言われたら。
Okay.
手出し。
そうなんですか。
ええ。休みずには休みずのやり方がある。男の人たちはそれにこだわるから。
I could somewhat understand that. A visitor should behave like one. Doing anything more would be uncalled for. It was an old-fashioned way of thinking, but this was an old-fashioned kind of place for sure.
じゃあ、どこで待とうか。
Yeah, this is super old-fashioned.
うちに戻って待ちましょう。
Expected as much, but it still made me curious. Normally you'd expect we'd sit around and drink some tea right here, so why didn't we? There's that fucking tea again. As we waited, Chiemi casually but uncomfortably told me several things. First, I found out that the people here in Yasumizu were a bit on edge right now. The reason for that was the fact that excluding me, they had 3 whole outsiders here. Excluding him? Okay, so it's 3 others. I'd assumed this myself from what I knew so far, but apparently yesterday morning, a little girl was found straying around the Saranaga Rapids. They couldn't even find out her name, let alone who her parents were, so they didn't know how to handle her. For now, one of the inhabitants was looking after her. Like I'd been told, the more superstitious inhabitants, Tai-san mostly, saw her as a bad omen. I suggested leaving her to the police, but Chiemi didn't seem to think it was a good idea. It barely made sense to me, but if I were to believe her, things around here were such that not even the cops could do anything. And apparently, the remaining 2 outsiders were a pair of journalists gathering info for a magazine article. Unlike the little girl and I, they'd come here via the normal route, through Kamifujiyoshi, and therefore weren't considered a bad omen or whatever. Still, even normal outsiders put the people here on edge. Through this talk, I also got some details about the area itself. Yasumizu was a settlement part of an autonomous region called the Fujiyoshi Village, or simply Fujiyoshi. It also been on the map I'd been shown at the store. Fujiyoshi was split into two areas, Yasumizu and Kamafujiyoshi. They were separated by a mountain. Going to Kamafujiyoshi took about an hour by foot or 20 minutes by car on the winding but paved road. Side note, the school the students went to was in Kamafujiyoshi. These two settlements had ties so strong they shared customs and culture. Shiemi said the local seasonal events were quite unconventional. I asked her to elaborate, but all she would say was that Yasumizu had special meaning to Fujiyoshi. She was making me more suspicious than I wanted to be. This conversation wasn't nearly as exciting as the one we had last night. Ugh. Well, at least I found out she didn't have a boyfriend right now. Very intriguing. Ugh. It was nearly noon when Takumi-san came back, ending my waiting game. Side note, the door... Lots of side notes. Side note, the door was fully open the entire time we waited. It was probably Chiemi's way of saying that nothing bad was happening here. Did you actually did carry it, didn't you, Takumi?
Look at that man's muscles. Of course he did.
Big fucking ox person, I love you. I think a motorcycle is heavier than a boar.
Maybe not.
Well, maybe not. I say that. Remember a couple of weeks ago we were playing D&D and I had watched that video of that boar completely fuck up that gate?
Yep.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
So
that's why I said I don't think the bike might be heavier. They might weigh about the same.
Boars might just be very dense. I really didn't expect them to just carry it here. Like, sure, there were two of them, but just how much mass did you have to haul a 200-kilogram piece of metal so easily? Look at the man on the left.
That man is a brick shithouse.
The unpaved road and the river made my sweet ride really damn muddy. Oh, boo-hoo.
You just wash it, buddy.
How'd you bring it up the cliff? I walked. Oh, okay. There's a pulley. I like the idea of Takumi being like, well, I threw it. Like from the bottom.
God. Yeah, he just stood at the bottom and threw it up.
And just tossed it.
Konzo caught it. Mm-hmm.
Yep. I mean, it was in the river. Non-committal grunt. I saw them off with a loud thank you. Now then. Just let her help you.
But she's a girl.
The worst part of the repairs was right at the beginning. I wanted to start by washing it, but that old lady, Tai Yamawaki was her full name, got really mad at me. She didn't want any Saranaga mud on the ground here because it was corrupt or something. But this plaza was the only place with easy access to a water supply tap, so I did my best and convinced her to let me wash it as close to the edge as possible. Once it was clean, I could start checking what was wrong with it. It actually looked pretty good. Bent in places, sure, but the wash got rid of the bad sound the wheels made. The only problem was that both tires were flat. And it was a pretty big one. Yeah, why would I ever be prepared? Yeah, you tell him, Shammy. Oh my god.
And now you're dead.
I was right! I was right!
We knew it, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't leave this asshole?
Right?
That seems like a lie.
Loser like you wouldn't have a girlfriend.
It wasn't.
それはともかくパンク修理道具か。野里屋敷ならあるかもしれないな。
Nosato Mansion?
野里屋敷？
うん、安水で一番大きなお家。野里屋敷にないものは安水にはないよ。
なるほど。
Okay.
じゃあそこの人にお願いしに行こ
う。実はあんまり会うのはおすすめできないんだけど、背に腹は変えられないか。
また偉い人が登場？
その上ちょっと。
Oh, good.
I can't wait to meet him.
I know, right? And so we walked up the hill and arrived at this so-called Nosato Mansion. From what I could tell, it was located at the highest point in the settlement. And, like Chiemi said, it was definitely a hell of a building. It had an elegant Western design, which would probably look even better if the place were better maintained. The yard was overgrown, and the building itself was pretty much buried in ivy and small trees. If someone told me it was cursed, I'd instantly believe them. Did people actually live here? She pressed a button next to the aged iron gate. Yasumizu was a quiet place, so I could easily hear the bell ring inside.
もう一度押そうか？
やめとこ。何度も鳴らすと心象悪いから。
Okay.
そんなに気難しい人なの？
そうね。気難しい。いい表現だ。
I wasn't sure what she meant, but I opted to just wait rather than ask more questions. Soon enough, the person in question walked out of the mansion. Oh, look at this guy.
Yeah.
He wasn't young, but he didn't look middle-aged either. He certainly looked high-strung, that much was for sure.
どうも、芹沢です。
知っている、芹沢千恵美。そっちの青年は存じ上げないがね。
春明さん、こちら野里清之助さん。清之助さん、事故車の久石春明さんです。
That introduction was the briefest one yet. I explained the situation again. He furrowed his brow when I mentioned the Saranaga, in addition to the reason we were here.
というわけで、早々にここから出ていくためにも、修理道具をお持ちだったら貸していただけないかと。
タイヤはチューブですかね。
Huh?
一応パッチもあるがね。チューブタイヤだったら素人には難しいんじゃないのか。できるならいいがね。なあ、チューブがバーストしてたら交換するしかないが、替えはさすがに持っておらんよ。譲る義理もないがね。
And fuck you too.
すみません。ちょっとそのあたり。
Oh my god, you don't even know what you have on your bike.
ちょっと話にならんね。おとなしく何十万だかの勉強料払って拾ってもらうのをおすすめしよう。
Damn. Easy for you to say, dude. I'm 24. Does it look like I have $10,000? I had no retort to that.
野里さん、多分ですけど、今の時期、これ以上よその車がここに入るとか、良くないんじゃないですか。
はあ、君は間違いりだろう。未だにそんなもの信じてるのかね。
私はともかく、じいさまばあさま方がちょっと。
I'm very intrigued by this man's super Western clothing.
I know, like the bolo tie and everything.
Yeah, and the waistcoat.
Wow, Yasumizu peasants. I mean, you could.
そこまでなくても、藤吉の長者として困ってるマロードを助けるのにお力添えをいただけないかと。
困った時だけ長者を頼るのではなく、安水流のもてなしでもしたらどうか。
Oh!
崖から突き落とすんだったか。
Okay. Whoa, what the hell?
いや、そんな言っちゃダメですよ。
Jimmy's tone was slightly off. I could feel a bit of irritation behind her words.
本当、お恥ずかしい限りなんですが、なんと とかしてみるんで、道具だけ貸してもらえませんか？
なんだと？
What?
道具やらキットやら仮に入るだけで、作業は別のところでしますから、もちろんお代は払います。
まあ構わんがね。下手に物を破損させたりしたら弁償してもらうぞ。学生だか知らんがきっちりしてもらう。
Okay, God. Then he pointed me to the garage and walked back to the
い
mansion.
やー、なんとかならない気がしてきた。チューブがバーストってなんだろう。
Haruaki.
春秋さんかっこ悪。
Yes, he's very lame.
バイク乗りならスパナ一本で何でも修理してみせろと。
That,
You should be able to do
まあわ
basic
かりませんけど、
repairs.
なんかそういうメカに強い感じ出したらグッとくる女は多いので。
じゃあ野里氏にはグッときたと。
いやー、どうせ知ったかぶりだから。あの人多分自分じゃ整備もできないよ。筋金入りの離れ業だし。
Fancy
じ
that.
ゃあなぜバイクの整備用品なんて。
野里屋敷は上富士吉にある野里家のもっと大きいお屋敷からいらないものを運んで置いとくような場所らしくてね。
Huh.
56年前に清之助さんが単車買ってもらったけど、ろくに乗りこなせなくてお蔵入りにしたとか聞いたことある。
Take the car. Damn. That was the
If it's been
countryside
sitting
for you.
for 6 years, the battery's
Yeah,
probably
its
dead.
battery's absolutely dead. Couldn't hide your shame if your life depended on it. Anyway, I now knew that the man was the condescending, pretentious type.
Ah,
still
takes
help-
one to know one.
I know, right? He still helped me out, though, and it was true I didn't know much about bike repairs, so I couldn't really get mad.
そうと決まれば使えそうなものは全部持ち
Let's just take everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
乗った。
Crime.
Yeah, fuck this guy.
私邪魔じゃないかな。
いや、適当に話してないと気がめいるんで、相槌打ってくれるだけでも助かる。
The instructions that came with the repair kit told me that my bike's tires were a rather difficult type to repair. Apparently, I had to remove the tires, but where did I even start with that? Well, as long as I didn't break it, nothing I did could be worse than having to call road service down here, so I just tried taking it apart. But as I removed whatever nuts I could, I made the situation even worse than it was. Oh, did you forget where you put the nuts? Yeah, this really wasn't a job for an amateur.
お兄さん大変そうね。ちえみちゃんもよかったら食べてね。
I wonder if she'll eat it.
ありがとうございます。
Oh.
なんか大元になってんな。機械つうのはやっぱダメだな。
It's true, machines are a pain in the
ま
ass.
あ怖いさえしなきゃ文明の利器は便利だけどね。
Honk, honk, honk.
直りそうかい
Oh, I like how he's gathered a peanut gallery.
Yeah,
うん。
let's all silently judge him.
大変かも。
Yep. I mean, I've been doing that since we started playing. Well, not silently. I've been very vocally judging him since we started playing.
I really appreciated how she handled the visitors in my
な
stead.
あ、知恵ね。バイクって免許簡単に取れんの？
どうだろう。原付なら簡単よ。私も持ってるし。
中型大型の二輪は結構めんどいよ。普通免許取るのと同じ学科講習もあるし。バイク好きなのかい？
You like bikes? No, idiot. Oh my god.
これは新
It's
車
not like I
で
like you or anything.
80万くらいかな。
Baka.
Baka?
たっけはたっけバカどうやってためんだよ。
Why are you so loud, kid?
まあバイトとか頑張ったから。
そんな新車が事故ってなんて。春脇さん、気の毒。
God, Chibi gives absolutely zero fucks.
ちえみ先生。
She gives no fucks
さ
and
っき
she's
から気に
wonderful.
はなってたんだけど、差し。
先生思わず全部食べちゃった。気の毒。
Oh, she did that on purpose.
She did.
Yeah, I didn't want sympathy from the one responsible. As I told her off for not leaving me any food, I somehow removed the tires. I can only hope I'd be able to fix this up. I'd had this thing for less than a month, but the trouble it was putting me through made it feel somewhat dear to me. I wanted to fire it up again and make it go as fast as it could. Suddenly, I heard an engine. It felt like it was mocking me. Hold on, an engine? Here?
Here comes that rich guy driving through town with his car.
Yeah, he just like rolls by like with the window down, flipping everybody off.
Honking his horn obnoxiously. Hell yeah.
I stopped working and turned around to see an unfamiliar van drive into the plaza. Barring the classic-looking piece of junk in Nosato's garage, this was the first time I'd seen a car here. As far as I knew, no one living here actually owned a running car, so... okay. I knew it. Once the van stopped, a lady stepped out of it. Oh, she's pretty. Haruaki bike crash.
Nice.
Crap, that was no time for an inside joke. I quickly introduced myself properly. I would have just kept going with it. My name's Bike Crash. What's up?
Yep.
No, and this is me, and that's him, and you're you. Gave me her business card. Sako Mamiya, a freelance writer. Her pen name was Kyoko Hosei.
Girl, if you knew that, why would you ask him if he'd read it?
I know, right?
He's a 24-year-old man. He can't be seen reading girly shit.
Listen, hope is eternal. Hey,
this guy's a loser.
Unlike him, maybe she doesn't judge people upon looking at them.
I mean, some people need to be judged immediately.
Okay.
Like this asshole.
What? Minor culinary oddities local to Japan.
Oh my god. That's the first cool thing this guy has said.
No flashes of brilliance or poisons. As we chatted, I became curious. Oh, he's dead. I ate him. I see that we're going through the cast of characters, introing them.
Yep.
I looked at the van and became completely awestruck. It felt like the van had shed its skin or something. That made no sense, but seriously, how did this fit in there? Holy, whoa!
Holy moly. Hello, sir.
He was gargantuan. Takumi-san was something, but this man was on the level of a foreign heavyweight wrestler. Though unlike Takumi-san, this man was primarily fat rather than muscle. Wow. As he walked out of the driver's seat, the van shook wildly. This guy is enormous.
I love him.
I didn't know much about photography, but I was definitely convinced. You don't know much about fucking anything.
He really doesn't.
There was a certain kind of authority or gravity around him. Wow, fat joke. Nice.
Damn.
He wasn't saying a word, and I couldn't tell what he was thinking. Yudai does not care.
Nope.
Was he even alive?
Oh. What the fuck? Aww. I bet he's shy.
Yeah. After a strange pause, he slowly bowed like the moving mountain he was, and greeted me with a voice like a titan. He seemed somewhat difficult to interact with.
Yeah, he's shy.
Oh, they've been eating the food.
It's probably fine since they didn't cross the river.
Maybe.
I think she's protecting him from it for some reason.
Yeah. And so Mamiyashi and Hashimoto-shi walked off to the dining hall. Who would have thought that such a beauty was a delicacy hunter? I had to admit that gap was kind of charming. Can you stop ogling everything, please, Haruaki?
I mean, to be fair to him, not that I really want to be fair to him, but to be fair to him, all of the women in this game have been incredible.
That's true. As intrigued as I was, I couldn't waste any more time. I had to fix my bike already. Whoa!
Oh god, who is this?
Oh, whoa is right!
Grandpa's here!
A lot of things had surprised me here in Yashimizu, but nothing as much as this.
Moshi.
That vacant stare is doing
Why
something.
did he just moshi this man? You're not talking to him on the telephone.
No reaction. At first glance, he looked like a poor man too senile to think and perceive properly.
何かご用ですか?
I made sure to speak as clearly as possible. It didn't look like he understood. I figured it was best to just ignore him and resume the repairs, but... Uh-oh. I don't want to know about that.
I want to know more about this.
I looked at him again. He was still just standing there like his soul and brain had left his body. A vacant stare, yellow eyes, half-open mouth covered in saliva. Oh, no. He spoke again.
何が来るんです?
I am! What? His voice was too hoarse to make
何
out.
ですって?
No, once is enough! I placed my hand against my ear. Oh, don't get closer.
Oh, he's closer.
I don't like that. He finally understood what I wanted and prepared to whisper something. I brought my ear closer and...
Oh no.
Sir, your eyes.
Sir, your teeth.
Sir, your
I guess
everything.
the eyes are more concerning.
Yeah. The sudden shout caught me completely off guard and made me fall to the ground.
Oh, I like this old man. Look at that face.
He clapped and opened his half-toothless mouth into a wide smile. He bent his body in a weird way, laughed like he was convulsing, turned around, and just left.
Majestic.
Yup. Jimmy had joined the journalists and only just came back.
何が遅かったと?
おじいちゃん、知らない人にはああやっていたずらするんだよ。
I don't think he was messing around.
あれ、ちえみちゃんの?
いやいや、本名は知らないんだ。昔から休みずにいるおじいちゃんだけど、昔からあんな感じ。
ボケてるというか、ちょっとおかしいのか、あの人。
Wow.
That old man is the most grounded person in this game.
The old man who cried wolf. Named after the boy who cried wolf, I assume. Doesn't work as well, though.
狼ね.
As far as I knew, there were no wild wolves in Japan. There used to be, but after the last sighting in either the Meiji or Showa era, they've been considered extinct here. Hey, we learned that earlier when you Googled it.
We did, when I Googled it.
Modern Japan's image of wolves came from Western fairy tales and the like. It wasn't linked to anything in our culture or life. Even the boy who cried wolf was a Western tale. Did his brand of insanity make him repeat the tale or something? A bit weirded out by the circumstances, I went back to repairing my bike.
I mean, that old man was old enough. Maybe he was alive in the Showa era.
Yeah. After a bit more time, I somehow took off the rubber from the tires and removed the tubes. Both tires were pierced by some really rusty nails. Fuck, this kind of stuff only happened at the worst of times.
Why were there really rusty nails?
Yeah,
like,
on like a dirt
middle
path.
Of nowhere.
Then I
Yeah.
applied the patches and filled them with air using a manual pump. I wet the tubes. There were no bubbles, meaning no air was leaving them. Things were looking good. After the high schoolers came back from school and passed by, no one else stopped to talk. Chiemi was looking a bit bored now.
なんとかなりそうかも。
嘘。あんなにダメっぽかったのに。
Hey, you have a use.
まあ、これを組み立て直すって大仕事が残ってるけど。
それが終わったら出発できそう？
そうだね。長居するとまずそうなのはよくわかったし。
そう、よかった。
She didn't seem to care that much. Guess I had no chance with her, huh? That's right.
No, buddy, you don't. She's out of your league.
疲れてない？
昼食休憩の機会が誰かさんに奪われたこともあってね。
Oh, boo-hoo.
代わりにクラッカーをあげたじゃないですか。
Like that was enough to save a guy in his mid-20s.
まあ、僕
What
は
does your
大丈
age have
夫。
anything to do with it?
もう一頑張りする。
Who knows?
君ももう言っていいよ。大体の人とは顔合わせしたような気がするし。
多分あと2人会ってない人がいるかな。
Oh, good. We've almost finished introductions.
Really? Well, there was no real need to, right?
もうちょっといるよ。どうせ暇だから帰ってきたわけだし、することもないし。
52人の男友達と遊ぶ選択肢はなかったの？
Wow.
全言撤回。暇したいから帰ってきたの。街暮らしは面倒も多くて、52人からのメールで。
そっか。
52人
No, don't tell him the truth. It'll give him hope. I don't want him to
It's
have
actually
that.
52 women.
春秋さんに対する牽制？
Why would she pull a tactic like that only to reveal her
ね
hand?
え、彼女に振られたって本当？
And now she asks me that.
本当だって。
そっか。
It's because I'm a shitty person.
Well, after that relentless assault, it wouldn't be fair unless I played my own card.
なんならこれ乗っていく？
これって2人乗りなんだ。
もちろん。一応タンデム用のヘルメットも吊るしてきてるし、まだ乾いてないけど。僕はこのままここを出ていくから、その便でちえみちゃんも外に出るのが都合良ければってことになるけど。
I'm torn. She obviously hates it here.
ついでに
Yeah.
ロングツーリングしてみる？時間さえあれば。
I mean,
どこへだって
she's
行くよ。
21. She's got plenty of time to get out.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to, like, take the first desperate asshole who she comes across.
Flexible, open to fine-tuning, wild, and charming. This is a good date invitation if I said so myself.
いいね。素敵。都合問題ない？
Now one of them has to die, so this can't happen.
I think he's already
じゃあ
dead.
荷物まとめてくるね。
Look at her face.
Shimmy smiled and turned around to head to her place. She then looked back at me
急
and...
いだ方がいいよ。ちえみさんの気が変わらないうちにね。
はいはい。もちろん。
Well, that made me motivated. This was one tiring trip, but at least I met someone good along the way. I'd just forget everything I didn't want to remember while on the road with her. I can only hope that clever girl and I would eventually grow closer. With that ulterior motive in mind, I resumed rebuilding the bike. I mean, anything that's ever classified as an ulterior motive just sounds skeevy as hell.
Mm-hmm.
After several failed attempts...
This guy is
Yeah.
pretty skeevy.
After several failed attempts, I was finally making some good progress putting the bike back together. Afternoon had passed and it was almost evening. At the rate I was going, I'd definitely be working while it was dark. Would that even be possible? It might be way past midnight by the time I was done. Jimmy might dump me for that. Man, life sure was hard.
Oh, boo-hoo.
The plaza I'd worked in was now totally empty. There was no one around me. All I could hear was the wind, the frogs, and the tools in my hands. It was desolate, to say the least. I suddenly felt really weak. It made me keenly aware of being in a place I didn't belong, and that I was preparing to escape. It was an oppressive atmosphere, like the bars of a cage were slowly swinging shut. What's this, Haruaki? Think you're gonna get attacked or something? I tried to laugh it off, but it didn't work. As I became more conscious of my surroundings, I began to hear things I hadn't noticed before. I heard a voice. Someone was singing. It was an inarticulate little girl's voice. I stopped my work. Before I knew it, I'd put my tools down and gone looking for the source. Was I that starved for human presence? Or did the malaise make me feel like I was in danger? I walked down the hill to where the song came from. Passing the tall grass, I arrived.
Oh my god.
It was a strange sight. The field was covered in tall grass. There were countless rocks peeking out of it. Unlike the boulders all over Yasumizu, these were only up to my waist. They looked like gravestones. The field extended into the dusky western sky before ending at a cliff. This is the lowest part in Yasumizu, the border to Saranaga. There was a large pine right at the edge. The donut bologna rice snows on the mountain. The evening sun, the stones, and the pine's shadow gave the field a strange aura. A little girl was running through it. Her steps were awkward. At this moment, the space was alien. I felt like I was looking at a Giorgio de Chirico painting. The place felt like it didn't belong in this world. Suddenly, I came to understand that this place was special. It was a sacred mystical ground where no outsiders were welcome. The girl fell. I run to, with no hesitation, the little girl.
What's with the arrows? What? Aww.
Help up, half-crying little girl, muddy clothes, new grays on... What? Half-crying, muddy clothes, new grays on Band-Aid covered kneecap. I console little girl, push away, run. So what the fuck is happening?
I'm very confused.
Appears girl saw once me.
Was that code we weren't supposed to see?
I don't know. It looks like a flowchart. Girl.
Yeah.
Incomprehensible phrase. Hide behind. What?
Girl hug little girl.
Warn me. Me, girl, behind. Mist.
Mist.
Me. Turn around. Run. Where?
I am so confused.
That had to be intentional. I don't think that was like a coding error. In a daze, I came back to the plaza. Suddenly, Chiemi shook me, bringing me back to my senses.
ごめん。すぐ作業に戻るから。
何言ってるの？もうダメ、間に合わない。春明さんも隠れて。
I couldn't understand what she was getting at.
とっとと部屋に戻れ。
でも春明さんが。
ほっとけそんなよそ者。俺はおやっさんと他の連中んち回るから絶対戻れよ、チエミ。
I couldn't understand. What were these two doing? What scared them so much? It didn't take long for me to find out.
Oh, good. Are we finally gonna get a spoop?
I know, right? I looked down the hill. From Saranaga, beyond the field I'd just been in, came a rising haze. It was so dense you could easily call it mist. It moved strangely like a living creature as it floated to the plaza. Chemi pulled me by the hand.
何がなんだか頭がなんだ
今は我慢して。どこか鍵のかかるところに一人で入るの。出ないと死んじゃう。
Okay.
どういうことなの？理由を。
お願い、春明さん。 だけは言うことを聞いて。
Albeit hesitantly, I did as she said. We ran up the hill and crossed a rice field path until we made it to a simple outhouse.
ここならなんとか。
本当、何事なんだ？確かにすごい霧だけど、そんな慌てることじゃ。
いい、春明さん。詳しく説明してる時間はない。だから、お願いだから、今から言うことを絶対に守って。今から一晩、ここに入って、鍵をかけて、絶対に物音一つ立てないで。
I have to stay in an outhouse all night? Alright.
Well, he's a trash man, so it's where he belongs.
Yes. My mind was pretty clear by this point, so much so that I began to wonder why it was clouded until now. Because of that, I could easily understand exactly what Shiemi just said, despite how weird it was. I could also see she was really desperate.
Fascinating.
I need 4 keys for that one.
Yeah.
Hide in the outhouse. Like a bitch.
また、とんでもない指示が来たもんだ。
春明さん。
言っとくけど、
So you know, pulling that off is pretty hard. When I do, I'd like a good reward and an explanation. Ugh, why do you need to be rewarded?
Just feed him more beer, that's reward enough.
Right. The words, the teary smile, none of it looked fake.
じゃあね、君も急ぐんでしょ？
それじゃ、春明さん。
何？
明日言うから。
Leaving me one hell of a homework assignment, Shiemi ran off. The plaza was covered in the mist by now. I could see it rising to take over the fields too. Anyway, promise was a promise.
I live in this outhouse now.
Yep. I live in the shit. 10 minutes later, I began to wonder what I was doing. Why the fuck am I in this outhouse? Was I really supposed to spend the night here? This outhouse wasn't like a prefab you'd find in construction sites. It was just a shack built by hand. It merely happened to have a toilet unit installed. It was Japanese style, so I couldn't even sit down. All I could do was stand. Another problem, it was the type of toilet that periodically had to be pumped empty, so the smell was really bad. Sure, there was a cover on the toilet unit, but without any kind of air freshener anywhere, the smell of ammonia could only do so much. The only good thing about being here was that if I had to go to the toilet, well, mission complete. But what of it? Again, was I really supposed to spend the night here?
You sure are.
The question quickly made me realize how stupid this was, and I began making assumptions to make this easier for myself. Was I being pranked, or was everyone here just crazy? Hell, the mist had already filled the surroundings, and there was no way that this shabby outhouse protected me from it. The air here suddenly felt misty and damp. The temperature here was low, so I could still bear it somewhat, but staying here all night would make me all wet. Again, I wasn't safe from the mist here. That considered, I'd probably be better off sleeping in the grass outside than staying here. The reasonable part of my mind urged me to stop playing along with these hicks. However,
今から一晩ここに入って鍵をかけて絶対に物音一つ立てないで。うん、いいよ。全部話す。だから今晩を生き延びて。
My sense of duty made it hard for me to break the promise I'd made to her. Actually, that wasn't quite true. I was more intrigued by the prospect of learning more about this place. I mean, that's kind of fair. Anyway, I took the time to compile what I found out today.
Oh god, the music.
Yeah. This was the Yasumizu settlement, a special part of Fujiyoshi. It was situated right next to the Saranaga Rapids. The people living here were Shiemi Serizawa, Yasunaga Oribe, his family, Kaori Oribe and Yoshitsugu Oribe, Chikamochi Kamoshida, Haru Makishima, her granddad, Kanzo Makishima, Tai Yamawaki, Takumi Muro, Kiyonosuke no Sato. It seemed like he was from Kamifujiyoshi, the place on the other side of the mountain, but for some reason he lived here now. And finally, the old man who cried wolf.
I love him.
Just that vacant stare.
It's so good. And the one tooth.
Yep. Those were the 11 people I'd met, and Shiemi said I had 2 more left. That could only mean that the 2 I'd met by that pine tree were the ones. A little girl. She was probably the child that strayed into Saranaga yesterday morning. And then there was the fantastical-looking white-haired woman clad in strange clothing. She was probably the one I'd seen in the morning. The fact I'd seen her twice made it likely that she was indeed real, but with how mysterious this place was, I couldn't rule out the possibility that she was an illusion. According to Shiemi, the little girl was being looked after by someone in the village, so I could only assume that the white-haired woman was the one. If I counted the little girl, it would mean that Yasumizu had 13 inhabitants. Then there were the 2 journalists, Hisako Mamiya and Yudai Hashimoto. Add me to that, and you had a total of 3 outsiders, but I'd put that aside for now. Anyway, time for an assessment. Yesterday morning, a little girl strayed into Saranaga. To make it worse, no one, not even herself, knew anything about her. She instantly got branded as an ill omen. The next day, Chiemi, who was in Saranaga for some reason, found me there. They recognized me as a proper lost person, but since I came through Saranaga, I was also branded as an ill omen. From what Kiyonosuke no Satoshi said, it was safe to assume that it used to be customary to throw people like us into Saranaga. And then there was the mist. The girl said something mysterious. Prepare for the feast when the evening mists arrive. I could only assume it was related to the same superstitions. After all, the mist came from Saranaga itself. It and the river seemed to be central to the local customs and ideas. With that in mind, how is it dangerous? What was going to happen now? Yomibito, as in people from Yomi? The ancient Japanese land of the dead? Dead people came back through Saranaga, and they were corrupted. Well, that gave room for some wild ideas. Was there some sort of pathogen in Saranaga that rose up with the mists? Did it turn people into zombies? Was I about to be a part of a Japanese Resident Evil? Wait, that was already Japanese. What if you had a 10% chance to be infected by the mists, but a 100% chance to be infected by another person? That would explain why everyone had to isolate themselves like this. If I became a zombie, I probably wouldn't have the mind to lock the door. So basically, by locking myself in here, I was quarantining myself. I hadn't put all that much thought into that, but that seemed like a good story. Sure, stuff like the boulders and the wolves didn't fit anywhere into my idea, but it was still interesting. Then again, I knew this was Hicksville and all, but would a superstition that science could explain so easily really survive the modern world? It seems so weird. Yes, we heard this already. Don't make a sound. I made the loudest sound I could. To be frank. The reason why I spent so much time on these delusions was because I was scared of things I didn't know or understand. In the past, people used to attribute stuff like natural phenomena and diseases to gods, devils, yokai, and then do nothing but fear them. They were scared of these manifestations of monsters and whatnot, but on the other hand, it was better than not seeing or not knowing what they really were. The fact that you could die to things you couldn't see or understand made life really unreasonable and unfair. That was why it was very logical to give things names and mental images in order to recognize and memorize them. My fear of things I didn't know was the same, except I wasn't satisfied with just labels or hypotheses. I needed to reach the truth. That aside, what I was feeling right now wasn't a fear of the unknown. It was a realistic, practical fear of something that could endanger my life. Okay. That meant that outside lurked something dangerous that could hear sounds. Perhaps it was the so-called dead that rose up from the river. Or maybe, assuming I was right with my Saranaga sickness theory, it was people who came out and beat the shit out of all the diseased who didn't follow the rules. The wolf is coming. Maybe the wolf was the title given to the killer.